We've made it to the end. We've made it to the end, class of 2013, and so we are honored to have Associate Dean of Student Affairs, Dr. Leon Jones, to give our commencement address. And after the commencement address, as all physicians do, many medical school graduates will have their own version of the oath of graduation from a mini medical school.
Well, good morning, and welcome to your graduation from the mini medical school. It's a great honor for me to be here. My job at the medical school here is I am the Dean of Students, so I get to take care of 400 amazing medical students. I'm not a parent. I've learned how to become a little bit of a mom and a little bit of a dad, and as I'm sure I could learn from all of you. But I get to work with really, really enthusiastic learners. And I actually feel really good about who's going to be taking care of me and the people I love based on our students that are amazing. But I'm also excited to be here with you because one of the things that's very important in medicine, it's one of our tenets and one of our graduation competencies is to establish a habit of lifelong learning. We expect our doctors to do that. There's a horrible statistic, cover your ears, medical students, that roughly 50 to 70% of what you learn in medical school is wrong in 10 years. That's a very expensive mistake to have made. But one of the things that I continually hear about the mini medical school is how enthusiastic all of you are. And I think that's just really wonderful. I think it's inspiring, and I hope you keep it up. So a good speaker tries to warm up his crowd with a joke or a story, which is always risky. So please keep in mind that I'm a physician and not a comedian. And maybe you've heard this already. So a group of 15-year-old girlfriends discussed where they should meet for dinner. It was agreed upon that they should meet at Dairy Queen next to the Ocean View restaurant because they only had $6 between them. And Jimmy Johnson, that really cute boy in social studies, lived on that street, and they might run into him. 10 years later, the group of 25-year-old girlfriends discussed where to meet for their annual dinner. They decided to meet at the Ocean View restaurant because they had free snacks, the band was really good, there was no cover charge, and there were lots of cute guys. 10 years later, at age 35, the group discussed where they should meet for dinner. Again, the Ocean View restaurant, but this time it was because it was near their gym. They could go late, and there wouldn't be too many whiny kids like theirs there. 10 years later, at age 45, they again decided to get together, and guess what? They picked the Ocean View restaurant. Again, because the waiters were cute, but more importantly, their windows open in case there were hot flashes. At age 55, they discussed again where they were going to go, and of course, they picked the Ocean View restaurant. The food there is good, the wine list is excellent, and fish is really good for your cholesterol level. 10 years later, 65 years of age, again for dinner, the Ocean View restaurant. The lighting was good, they can eat in peace and quiet, there's a beautiful view of the ocean, and they have an early bird special. At age 75, you guessed it, the Ocean View restaurant. But this time they went because the food wasn't spicy, and the restaurant not only had handicap accessible ramps, but an elevator. Lastly, at 95 years of age, the group decided to get together one final time before they scattered to wherever they were going to live with their families. And this time they decided to go to the Ocean View restaurant because no one had ever been there before. So what does this illustrate? Actually, I'm feeling really good now because I thought, I don't want to offend people by... Anyway, good. So what does this illustrate? There are many seasons to our lives, and for many of us, those seasons are predictable, and we can identify with those things. While our priorities can and often must change, holding on to traditions and friendships is really important. Adapting to change is not only a requirement to survive, it's how you thrive. And finally, finding humor in some of the trials and tribulations gets us through. Over the years as a physician, I've been incredibly fortunate to learn from a very experienced group of people, my students, my colleagues, and most of all, my patients. I've been practicing now for about coming up on 30 years. I don't know where the time went. So I'm going to go through some tips that I've learned over the years, mostly from my patients, on how to live life. I wish I could footnote these. I've actually journaled, and I keep a running list of what I think are important things, so I don't know where these came from. If any of you said it, let me know, and I'll footnote you. So the first one is deal directly with mistakes and learn from them. I was in my first year of psychiatry residency. I'm a psychiatrist, having switched from surgery. That's a whole nother story. And I was constantly aware of how much there was to learn. As one of my supervisors put it, the opportunities for learning were endless, for me in particular. I was caring for a young paranoid man in the hospital. His name was Rob. He was delusional and paranoid, believing his employer was controlling his mind by sending him messages. Rob gradually began to trust me and told me he was getting Morse code tapping in his ears, keeping him up all night. He asked me to look in his ears, which I did. There was nothing in his ears. My colleagues thought I was a bit foolish. I was this gullible, stupid ex-surgeon that actually looked in people's ears when they were psychotic. I have to admit I was a little bit embarrassed about having done that. Rob kept complaining about the Morse code, and we continued to increase his meds to treat his psychosis. He did get better enough behaviorally to come off the ward, and so I took him to my office off the ward. And in the quiet of my office, I began to hear this Morse code clicking. And it seemed to be coming from Rob. My first thought was I should have stayed in surgery because psychiatric illness may be contagious. It's not, first of all. But my second thought was, if I can hear this from across the room, it must be deafening to Rob. So I called an ear, nose, and throat consult. Finally, the phone rang, and the ear, nose, and throat ENT resident called back, introducing himself. I'd had time to think about what I'd put Rob through, so I was rather upset. And as soon as he introduced himself, I launched into the story. Hello, this is Dr. Lee Jones. I'm the second-year psychiatry resident who's been caring for a psychotic man in the hospital who's been complaining of Morse code in his ears, and now I can hear it. Not the way to introduce this. There was silence on the phone, and I said, "Are you still there?" And he said, "Who did you say you are?" So it turns out there are 3 little tiny bones in the ear that enable us to hear, and they're connected by muscles. And one of the side effects that you may have heard about of antipsychotic medications is that you can get muscle twitching. He was getting muscle twitching of these tiny little muscles, causing the bones in his ears to click. Can you imagine how bad I felt? We had tortured this young man. And the very thing we were doing to treat it, going up on the meds, was making it worse. This reminds me of my favorite quote about physicians. It's from Jay Leno, quote, "The New England Journal of Medicine reports that 9 out of 10 doctors agree that 1 out of 10 doctors is an idiot." The take-home message from this: when you make mistakes, recognize them, acknowledge them, and take responsibility for them. Learn from them, and try not to repeat them. Honest mistakes always happen. Just don't make the same mistake twice. I now take everything my patients say very seriously, and I am not embarrassed to look in people's ears now. The other message, as I'm assuming you all have picked up in this mini medical college, is medical care is a collaborative effort. It's between the patient and the doctor. It's between you and your doctor. As my rather embarrassing story illustrates, we're human. We make mistakes. We forget things. We sometimes overlook things. And most importantly, even though I'm a shrink, I'm not a mind reader. It's important for us to know what's concerning to you and to enter into this as a team. And we're very much a team. My first This is not what going to the doctor should be like. We're not trying to hit you with a dodgeball and knock you over. So, next tip, learn how to learn. There's simply too much information out there, and it's constantly and rapidly changing, and there's a lot of false information out there, as well as a lot of salespeople trying to sell their wares. Follow every word of advice from every medical expert, from TV, radio, books, magazines, newspapers, tapes, and seminars. That should fix what you have. Clearly, that's not true. You can always find someone to sell you what you think you want. It's essential for you to identify and develop strategies for evaluating information, looking at its validity, how to find it, and discussing it with your doctors. You may educate us. Do take full responsibility to learn about your illnesses, whatever illness it may be, what your tests are and treatments your doctor prescribes. Learn that there are both silent things you need to know about, like hypertension and being overweight, as well as not so silent, head injury and hip fracture. These are things that can hurt you. You need to learn how to take care of them. Make peace with not knowing or understanding everything. As you get older, you're expected to be all knowledgeable. As a physician, you're expected to be all knowledgeable. It's a crazy burden, and it's unrealistic. As doctors, one of the things we have to learn is to put pride aside, and when we don't know something, ask for help. That's very true of patients, too. If you don't understand it, don't be afraid to ask for help, especially when your welfare is at stake or the welfare of someone you love. Get over what it is, whatever it is that stops you, whatever the barriers that stops you from asking the questions. One of the best skills you can develop is how to formulate good questions and be a terrier until you get the answer. I'm going to say that again. I love dogs. Be a terrier. That answer is a badger in the hole, and don't give up until you get it. I think I have another. At your age, people get anxious about taking too many pills, but I can prescribe something for that. You've had polypharmacy. I would hope that if your doctor says this to you, you have some questions for him or her about the treatment. Next, take care of yourself. You are the primary person responsible for your health care and your health. It's never too late to start. This is one of my favorite ones. It's the Grim Reaper at the door. And the caption is, "Take a wild guess, butter boy." It is never too late to start taking care of your health. No matter how old, how young, how unhealthy you've been in the past, just start. I'm preaching to the choir. You all get that. That's why you're here. Obviously, you get enormous paybacks from working on your health. For some of us, attending to our health, diet, exercise, following our medication and medical regimens may be something new. So as a doctor, I just discovered this myself. My doctor actually said, "You're getting overweight." Doctors don't like to hear that. But I just lost 33 pounds. And it wasn't easy. I discovered that bread and cookies really were my first love. But most importantly, I did it. And I did it with the help and support of my doctor and my family. And I feel great. And any of you that have done things for your health, you know how good it feels. I'm actually now addicted to exercising. I do a lot of traveling. I had a 6 a.m. flight about 3 weeks ago. I got up at 3 a.m. to exercise. My partner was like, "Where's the other Lee? What have you done with the real person?" Because this was a new me. I encourage all of you to do that. The other thing is, though, don't get so caught up in thinking about your health that you forget to live. With all things, it's a happy medium. You want to focus on things. Be sure to eat, sleep, exercise, follow your doctor's plans, and have fun. Actually, have lots of fun. This is the most effective diet we sell. You chase around a handball cart for an hour a day. as the last speaker said, given the choice between medications or something else that's behavioral, or exercise, like exercise or spending time with your family, we're always going to want you to go with the latter. First of all, it's a lot more fun. Second of all, it's as effective, if not more effective, and the only side effects are fun. Be proud of your accomplishments, no matter how small they are. Take pride in everything you do. For me, the first 3 pounds I lost, you would have thought I won the marathon. It was so exciting. My favorite example is I love to vacuum. And no, I won't come to your house and do your vacuuming for you. So why do I love vacuuming? I have big dogs. We have Great Danes and Mastiffs. So there's hair everywhere at our house. What I love about vacuuming is in a very short period of time, and with a lot of fun, because with big dogs who are afraid of the vacuum, I dance around chasing them with it. But when you're done, the house is clean, it looks good, it smells good, and if you come to my house and ring my doorbell after I vacuumed, you would think that I have just discovered the cure for diabetes. My house now is mine again. So, if you start walking daily or keep up walking daily, be proud of that. If you don't take the 3rd, 4th, or 5th cookie, be proud of that. If you stick with your medication regimen, be proud of that. It's an accomplishment. Build leisure into your life. Time for relaxation and reflection. Surround yourself with the people and things that you love and cherish. Family, pets, your garden, keepsakes, music, art, whatever it may be. Make your home your castle. Take time to reflect on the wonderful people and good times in your life, even if there is sadness because that time or that person is no longer here. Use this good reflection to motivate you to get more of the good. Nurture relationships. None of us would be where we are if it weren't for the love and support of our families, friends, spouses, teachers. The really, really great news for all of us is that no matter where you are in your life, if you've nurtured these relationships, they'll be there for you. Attend to the relationships you've had for some time. With age and wisdom, you've come to realize, particularly with how fragile life can be, how amazing long-term relationships are. But they take care. Life has gotten crazy. I am right now wearing 2 phones and a beeper. I try to figure out how to change the channel on my TV. There's 5 remotes. I can't figure out how to turn the damn thing on. Life has gotten complicated, and we get very caught up in lots of other things, and sometimes the thing we forget is the most important, which is to call someone or go for a walk with them or text them, I guess. Get to know the new people around you. New friendships can last a lifetime. Put this realization into action that relationships are important. Don't be alone day after day. Make sure you spend time with at least one person every single day. Put in the extra effort to contact friends and family. Talk to the neighbor. Everyday tasks like grocery shopping can become really fun if you're with a 4-year-old. I have 4-year-old twin nieces and nephews, and I do all the grocery shopping in our house. It was like going to Disneyland with them. They notice things. I'm not at that level. It's like, why do they put all the candy, you think, down there? I never thought about that. I just thought, I have to bend down to get the candy. Practice what you know, which is that a simple, heartfelt, how are you? Is there anything you need? Holding someone's hand, or even something as simple as a smile, can make a huge difference. Practice that. Next, adapt. As your body, friends, nearness of family, anything changes, redouble your efforts to stay connected with loved ones, find new people, and find things to enjoy. Here's another slide. The vet says I need a new hobby. I thought eating and sleeping were my hobbies. These are not good hobbies. Find something you like that motivates you to continue and start slow. Be the little engine that could. Try variations on what you know and love. Harder puzzles, different recipes, different cuisines. Learn to listening to another type of music or go to a different restaurant. Volunteer or take a class. Share the wisdom and knowledge you've gotten with others around you. They're great ways to stay connected, to stay physically active, and to stay mentally active. Get back to a lost hobby or pick up a new one. Have you always wanted to play the violin or paint landscapes? You're not likely to end up playing in a symphony or with a show at the Guggenheim, but who cares if it gives you joy? And you never know. Grandma Moses began her painting career in her late 70s. Harry Bernstein, I don't know if you know, he wrote a book called The Invisible Wall. He wrote it at age 93. It got published at age 97, hit the New York Times bestseller list, and he wrote 3 other New York Times bestsellers. Do I feel inadequate at this point? 93. Establish priorities and creative goals. These need to be a mixture of very practical goals and goals that makes your soul sing. Find your passion. Pay attention to what resonates with you. Often, as we've gone through life with our jobs, making sure our kids are okay, making sure people are okay, we've lost some contact about what is it that makes our soul sing. Reconnect with that. And if you've got the connection, make it stronger. Maintain a sense of purpose in your life. Find support in times of change. Acknowledge and support your feelings. Feelings aren't good or bad, they just are. It's what we do with them that becomes good or bad. Don't deny what you're going through. And find healthy ways to share and process your feelings. Usually someone that you love and trust. If not, there's us, therapists and psychiatrists. Practice the serenity prayer. Grant me the serenity to accept things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Many things are beyond our control. Let go of those things and focus on what you can change. Build resilience and find healthy ways to cope with these challenges. Make the most of the good times and keep your perspective through the bad times. But there are also many things that we think we can't change that we can, like our health. You've learned that. Have the wisdom to explore what you can maintain or change in your health, the humility to seek help on that journey, and the courage and persistence to improve your health. If I don't go to the doctor, he can't find anything wrong with me. That's how I stay healthy. That's not what I mean. Lastly, live in a spirit of gratitude. Be aware that there's much to be thankful for. Stay in touch with the world. It will give you perspective on both the beauty and dark side of our existence. When something good happens, share the joy. Take that positive energy and pour it back into your life and the lives of those around you. The world is an exciting, chaotic, and often upsetting place. Keep aware that there's much, as I said, to be thankful for. My favorite cartoon, I have it at my desk at home, reminds me of this and helps me keep this perspective. As I said, I do all the grocery shopping in our household. It shows a mother and a teenage daughter walking through a grocery store, and the mother's doing what I usually do, complaining. The peaches aren't ripe. They've rearranged the cereal for the 99th time. They're out of what I want, and then you finally get to the end, and the lines are crazy long. The mother turns to the daughter and says, "Why are you so quiet?" And what the daughter says is, "We're studying Central Africa in social studies. I think we just saw more food in the last 30 minutes than entire villages have seen in the last 100 years." I'm not saying or trying to belittle something that worries us. We all have legitimate worries, legitimate concerns, but it helps to keep it in perspective. We have a lot to be thankful for. I'm going to close with another joke. Two 90-year-old women, Bertha and Betty, have been friends all of their lives. When it was clear that Bertha was dying, Betty visited her every day. One day, Betty said, "Bertha, we both loved playing softball all of our lives. and we played it all through high school. Please do me one favor. When you get to heaven, somehow you must let me know if there's women's softball in heaven. Bertha looked up at Betty from her deathbed and said, Betty, you've been my best friend for many years. If it's at all possible, I'll do this favor for you. Shortly after that, Bertha died. A few nights later, Betty was awakened from a sound sleep by a blinding flash of light and a voice calling out to her, Betty, Betty. Who is it? Asked Betty, sitting up suddenly. Who is it? Betty, it's me, Bertha. You're not Bertha. Bertha just died. I'm telling you, it's me, Bertha, insisted the voice. Bertha, where are you? In heaven, replied Bertha. I have some really good news and a little bad news. Tell me the good news first, said Betty. The good news, Bertha said with joy and enthusiasm, is that there's women's softball in heaven. Better yet, all of our old buddies who died before me are here too. Even better than that, we're all young again. Better still, it's always springtime and it never rains or snows. And best of all, we can play softball all we want and we never, ever get tired. That's fantastic, said Betty. It's beyond my wildest dream. So what's the bad news? You're pitching here Tuesday. So I just want to very quickly finish with one slide, and it's this one. It's a quote from Mark Groening. He's an author of a book on aging, and I think you've gotten this from the Mini Medical College. Cherish your health. If it is good, preserve it. If it is unstable, improve it. If it is beyond what you can improve, get help. And congratulations on having done this.
So, before you all leave, first of all, thank you, Dr. Jones. We have don't forget that we have a group photo, class of 2013, outside in the quad in a couple of minutes. But first, what we're going to do is follow a tradition. So Dr. Jones and I are going to lead you through the UC Davis Mini Medical School Oath. And as is the tradition in medical schools around the world, we'd like you to all rise, please. Upon the staff of Asclepius, I do solemnly pledge to be a wise and educated consumer of health care.
I hope I'll remember that my medical teachers have taught, and I hope I'll remember that I attended the Mini Medical School.
I will dedicate myself to lifelong learning of age-related medicine, which is always evolving, because I am getting older and need to know.
Armed with knowledge, I am better prepared to take responsibility for my health.
I will not use this knowledge as a substitute for professional health care.
I will honor my mentors by never forgetting what the Mini Medical School has done for me.